What is up, YouTube? Back in the garage. First of all, I want to just say thank you to everybody who's been watching. Thank you to everybody who's been subscribing. I'm having a lot of fun making videos, and it just makes it a lot easier whenever I know people are kind of interested. So as you know, if you watched last video, I am wire tucking this thing. I showed the fuse box in the dash, the wire harness get pulled out from my LS standalone harness, which I can go more in depth in another video later. But today, what I want to do is work on the chassis harness more and actually get this thing hooked up to power. So because I'm running the stock Mazda ECU along with the stock Mazda harness, it can pretty much work by itself. The engine harness is completely separate from the chassis. But because I'm running stock ECU, everything can kind of get plugged in and the chassis can get hooked up to power before the engine's even in. And what I want to do today is just start hooking that up and make sure that I get lights on the dash and power where I need it to be. I can't remember how much I showed in the last video. I did start extending my passenger side harness here up to the headlight, ABS, fans, power steering. I still need to extend my whole driver's side harness to extend up to the stuff on that side. So the plan is actually to relocate the battery to the trunk. For now, I'm gonna hook it all up right in the passenger seat. That way I can test it now, make sure everything's gonna work, and then I can go ahead and do the relocation. Okay, so one important thing I'm gonna do before I start hooking up power or anything, I capped off my fuel feed line here. That is because I'm running the fuel pump off of the Mazda fuel pump relay. So when I turn the key, it should theoretically turn on the fuel pump. And if I don't cap that off, I don't know how far 60 PSI will shoot, but I'll probably have a mess. Battery, I think it's charged enough. I'm not cranking the engine or anything, so I think it has, 11 or so volts, which will be plenty. So I got it setting in here, hooked up. That's a good sign. So here comes the moment of truth. I have not seen this car light up since I got it. It was pretty much all disconnected, never hooked anything up. But it looks like we're already getting lights, so that's good. Oh yeah. Heck yeah, dude. Heard some relays click over there. I don't hear the fuel pump going, so I'm gonna have to figure that out. It's probably something with a neutral safety switch or maybe a mobilizer. I see that's beeping there. I'm not sure. So there's a crank position. I'm hearing something click over there, some relay. I'm hoping that's my starter relay, so that's good news. Yeah, I'm not sure why the fuel pump isn't running, but either way, this is great news. So I'm super stoked on that. Now what I can do is actually go through my fuse box, find points to hook up to the fuses for my signals for the GM ECU. So I'll basically use some fuse connectors to splice into those. So I can start finding those. I can figure out why my fuel pump relay isn't running. Probably something minor, maybe just have to jump a wire or something. But yeah, like I said, super happy. This is really exciting. It's a great start to the weekend and just great in general that I don't have any issues electrically yet. So I'm not too worried about running my battery cables quite yet. I think that's still something I can do later. I can get it running and then clean up all the wiring inside of the car. So what I've already done, and I can't remember if I did this on camera or off camera, probably off camera. I removed the ABS. And I actually unhooked all of these lines, and I went ahead and bought some pre-made lines at the right thread pitches and right sizes. I believe all of the ABS threads and flares are bubble flares and they're metric. The ones coming straight from the master cylinder to the ABS are the 1/4 inch. The ones running from the ABS to the actual brake calipers are 3/16. What I'm doing with these, I'm basically going to tuck all of these, or at least the ones I can, down below the frame rail, and then use my other pieces here to extend to an ABS block that will be located right here. I got to pondering over lunchtime, and I think I decided while I'm in here cutting stuff, I might as well go ahead and shave some stuff off. We got some little brackets here on the side of the shock tower that I won't have a need for, so I can cut those off. Some studs sticking out. Same thing over here, a little bracket here that isn't gonna be needed. The brackets there. I'm gonna go ahead and shave those off and then Also, at some point before I paint this, I'm gonna be filling these holes and welding those in. So definitely not necessary. Definitely a little extra. I think in the end, it'll just kind of complete the build. I promised myself I wouldn't go too crazy, but I think I'm gonna end up doing that. All right, guys, so got a little bit ahead of myself. This bracket that I'm making for the ABS, I'm using the factory bracket, and I welded on this tab to put a bolt through, bent this tab flat so these will bolt straight up into the frame rail. And then I'm making a brace across because since it'll now be hanging like this, I don't think these are strong enough. I think they'll spread, and the little rubber spacer that holds it in will kind of come off. So I'm bracing it just to make it a little bit stronger. And Nick's here. And we are shortening his harness bar supports.
Yes. So I got like a universal kit, and they're designed to mount at the lower seatbelt mount. And the way it's designed, like, that's just not feasible on the Z. So it's gonna mount kind of in like the trunk area. There's tie downs from the factory. So
sweet. Yeah, so he basically just cut his universal harness bar supports, and then we're going to sleeve it with a slightly bigger tube. That way there's two weld joints to help support it better. Should hold up fine. I don't know if I showed the harness bar last video, but it just pretty much fit in perfect, the universal one, right at the seatbelt mounts.
yeah, it's pretty close. Well, yeah, it works.
Yeah.
I don't have the driver's seatbelt in. I should have just left it in, but oh well. I'll probably end up putting it back in if I want to run the stock seat like in this winter time.
Yeah,
which I
well,
probably will.
For now, you're gonna get a harness in it. So he's trying to get this done before Drifters of December at Summit Point.
Yeah.
So
Which is next weekend.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I know, it's almost December already.
Gonna be sick. All right, Nick, tell us about the harness bar.
All right, so it's in. We shortened the rods here. It mounts to, these are like factory tie downs. So there's one on each side, and that side had a hook for like a car seat. So I don't know why you'd put a car seat in the front seat of, I guess back in 2005, that was like normal. I don't know.
Interesting. But, well, it's gotta go somewhere if it's a two-seater, right?
That's true.
I think the MR2 has some features for a car seat somehow.
Probably.
Like you can turn off the airbag and stuff.
Manually. I don't know if I can do that on here or not. I don't know. But
I don't know. Yeah.
Regardless, so it is mounted to like a reinforced spot. It's not like we just drilled it into some sheet metal. So,
not saying we wouldn't have.
Exactly.
I'm just
but no, and we just use some angle iron. It's really sturdy. Like it moves the whole, like this thing doesn't budge at all. And the upper parts are mounted to the seatbelt. I think the big thing is that it fits up here. And then these just kind of hold it in place so it doesn't go up and down. And this, like the forward and aft, well, I mean, it all kind of works together. Should do what it needs to do.
Yeah, so let's look at the harness now.
I X'd it. I couldn't find too much information. Some people say you're supposed to X them if the distance behind the seat is more than like 400 millimeters or something.
Interesting.
And it's like right at that. So, and I think it also helps it from sliding side to side. instead of me buy, they sell clamps that you can buy to clamp on the bar. Same for like
Gotcha.
roll bars or whatever. Or roll
There's not
hinges.
too much room for it to move though in that little.
No, it's not going to
hoop.
move this way. It might move a little bit that way, but I don't think
Gotcha.
when it's on and it's tight, since it's X, so this is going to pull it this way, and they're going to kind of be pushing against each other.
Yeah,
So it shouldn't really go anywhere.
That makes sense.
And it's not like I'm going to be moving side to side in the seat. They're more or less. I mean, these are ran just like you'd ran anything else. I just hooked this to the factory seatbelt mount, and this I hooked to the seat mount itself because we got it reinforced.
The one that we made.
Yeah.
I think I can
Some
see
people
that.
put them through the trans tunnel. You can do that. Some parts are kind of weak on the trans tunnel, but they sell like a big washer. It's actually they recommend to run like a hoop from like the roll cage under the. If you want to get super crazy and like, I mean, it's all about safety, obviously.
So Drifters of December coming up next weekend. I don't know when this video is coming out. Probably after Drifters of December happens, but that's all right. So nice. Got the harness bar done and about to rip this thing.
Big rips.
I am way ahead of myself. ABS, I routed the lines, but then I actually took it all back out. Kind of trying to get a lot of stuff done this weekend, and I'm doing a really bad job filming. So I got the ABS all ran, and then I took it all back out, took out the brake booster, took out the clutch master cylinder, and what I did actually was fill all of these holes along the shock tower and frame rail here. I didn't fill these big ones in the back. Just because they're in the back. They'll kind of be hidden, and they're also really big, so they're hard to fill. But I filled all the ones on the side of the shock tower. Yeah, it's not supposed to be a show car, but I want it to look good, so while I'm painting the bay, I decided to do all that. I am testing out a few spots up here just to make sure that my primer, I'm going to be able to sand it and get a nice smooth finish on some of the spots that I had to grind down. So like I said, way ahead of myself. Look out for the next video whenever I'm painting the engine bay. Thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and have a good night.